Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday 420 channel and the Fryday Podcast. Today, it's a bit of a different setting and I've got someone really special with me. He's none other than David from Roxon Air across the pond. He is based in Quebec, Canada. And David, thank you for being with me today.
Thank you for having me, man. Such an honor. Hopefully next time I can be sitting next to you in the UK, but until then, like you said, across the pond.
Hopefully very soon. But you know what? I think we're lucky that we can actually do stuff like this and we've got the technology when it works to do so.
I agree.
So I want to start from the beginning if possible, because I know you haven't been in the cannabis industry all your life or all your professional life. So do you want to tell us where you grew up, where you're from, and early life?
Absolutely. So I'm from Quebec City. Started growing small scale when I was in high school, college, and saw the opportunity with Colorado legalizing first.
Yep.
We had a liberal government, so it was a question of time before we could start growing commercially here in Canada. So we started step by step getting our nose into how to get the medical licenses to start growing. And it took quite a few years. So by the time we were licensed and ready to grow, it actually had become legal on the recreational side. So
So was it
basically,
in the transitional period? So were you already obviously growing before it was legal
yeah,
per se?
small scale. So home,
Yeah.
like a little home drip hydroponic garden. Nothing,
Okay.
nothing crazy. I know there are a lot of players that used to grow big scale before it was legal. So,
Yeah.
so they came into the legal game with knowledge of how to grow scale. We had to learn
Scale up.
we had to learn how to scale as we were already licensed in legal.
And do you remember your first grow and do you remember what it was?
Oh my God. The strain, it must have been like either Quebec Gold or Jean-Guy. Like from what I know, it was like the two things that were out there.
Or one of the strains that everybody kind of knows about?
Exactly. Or M39, probably M39, which was like
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 the staple?
the organized crime strain that was a very short flowering time and very resistant to pathogens and so easy to grow basically.
I think we have one in it's called Stardog, and it was around for a very long time before the flavors and exotics started coming around. So I think we had kind of the same thing.
Same, yeah.
And then how was the transition from the illegal or before it became legal to then growing it in the legal manner? Was it a prolonged process? Was it a lot of paperwork or was it simple enough?
It was very complicated in the sense, like I said, that we weren't already set up for scale, so we had to start at like finding the facility, or actually building the facility, finding the right spot. So we did move from like one region to another before actually finding the right partners and finding the right location and building or actually, so we're not we don't own the building in which we cultivate right now. So our master grower is actually the owner of the building. So yeah, it was a long, so just like not even paperwork related, was a very long process with a lot of pivots and a lot of swing and misses, and then comes the paperwork. So paperwork wise, I would say it's a long process, but we were fortunate enough to have a great consultant. A shout out to Max from Group SGF, who helped us get the license. So he made it a lot easier. So all the interpreting the law part, he had that covered. So basically, he really helped us just sort of simplify the process. But it's still a long process, and you have a few back and forths with the government, but at the end of the day, it's just putting one foot in front of the other.
One thing that I wanted to talk about, which I think a lot of people in this country, in the UK, will find it difficult, is about the capital. How did you raise the capital? Was it a lot of money needed? And then, like we were saying, a lot of people who are big illegal growers then go into the legal market, but they can't use the money from the illegal to take it to. So was that a big hurdle for yourself, or?
It was a major headache. It was part of that long process. So basically, the way we went about is we had a building where we were supposed to set up at first, which we owned and which has no more like equity on it. So the building's ours, and we put it up for financing. Like I don't know how you say it. Like it was the guarantee.
Remortgage kind of thing? Okay,
Yeah, exactly. So we remortgaged, but not through the regular mortgage channels. We went through private loans, and so we were just after the cannabis stock burst. Like,
Okay, yeah.
there was a huge bubble, and we were just after that burst, so nobody would lend us. Like we had like the building was built in 2012, so it's like
Oh, so
relatively
it's quite
recent.
new. Yeah.
And yeah, even though it was quite a new building, as soon as you mentioned cannabis, like people just didn't want to lend
Yeah.
money, and the one that finally did lent us a very small portion of what the building was worth at a interest rate I don't even want to mention. It was so it was so crazy.
They knew they had the upper hand on you.
They had both upper hands on us. Like it made no sense, but we had to start somewhere. So we went all in with that, and we still had capital to raise. So we found what became a partner, which is sort of the game saver in this case. If we're still up and running after all these years, he's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And just so you know, we paid off that loan, so so it's behind us. Yeah, exactly, because that was a stressful part. Yeah. So yeah, it was tough, but it was all about finding the right partners at that point.
And at that point, what sort of time were we talking? Was it pre-COVID, post-COVID?
So we legalized in 2018, if I recall. So the first like, hey, let's look into this was probably like 2016.
Okay.
And we got our license in 2021. So
Okay.
there was like easily 5 years in between the first idea of, hey, let's look into this, and actually being allowed to grow.
Okay.
So
Let's step away from the business for 1 minute. So before Roxton Air, I believe you were a graphics designer, right?
exactly, I was in marketing. Yeah.
So how did that step happen? What made you think, yeah, let's get into cannabis and this is the way forward for me?
So it was pretty naive. I thought this could be like a side hustle or something. So yeah, I was I had my I was a freelancer. By the time we were like going all in the cannabis, I had a small agency. So by then I had a few employees. But yeah, I thought, like, for some reason I thought this was gonna be like while the cannabis is growing, I can tend to my other job and my other business.
Carry on,
And
yeah.
we just had like no idea of how much paperwork and how much work it was going to be to run this facility. So yeah, at some point I had to choose. Like I couldn't no longer run both. I could have like maybe put a general manager in place, but the agency was too small. It didn't make sense. So
And
at
they
the end
wouldn't
of the
do the
day,
job like you.
was that?
They would never do the job like you.
Exactly. Yeah. And to this day, the one thing I have a hard time letting go is the like graphic design marketing. I haven't found for everything else, I'm very well surrounded. For the marketing part, I'm holding on to it like my life depended on it. I'm like, yeah, it's a hard one.
How far down the line did you realize that you can't do both? Was it pretty quickly you realized this is going to take over, or did it take a long time for you to realize that this is what I'm going to have to put my all into?
It was more a question of the further we were in it and the closer we were to actually being up and running, the more, because it's not a an overnight thing where you wake up and you have so many responsibilities, and it's sort of
It
grows
builds.
on you.
Yeah.
It builds. So the more we were getting ready to set up, the more things were getting clearer. And once we started, once we were actually growing, because there was a setup part which was quite long too. There was a lot of dead angles. Can you say that? Like there were a lot of things that you didn't know until you were
until you had to do them.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and then we started flirting with exporting.
Okay.
And that's another layer of like more paperwork. Everything is stricter because now it's not only about the Canadian law, it's where you're exporting.
Rules. Yeah.
Exactly. So you need to be compliant with their rules. So it was just building up. And at some point it was like, hey, because we have a few shareholders and it's not a huge team, but at the end of the day, I was the one that sort of convinced everybody to, hey, let's do this. So I had to pull up my sleeve and say, okay, I'll take care of it. It's a question of somebody needs to run this ship,
And was it difficult to get people on board because it is cannabis? Because, like I say, in this country, we've been medically legal since 2018, but like you said, getting bank loans and stuff like that into the cannabis industry is very difficult. They won't really give them. And even we're not allowed to have dispensaries here, but we're allowed to have medication lounges so people can go there and medicate themselves. But even to get a property or get a building to do that is very difficult. As soon as you tell them that people are going to be consuming cannabis, not just smoking, because in UK, well, in England, you can't actually put it in a joint and smoke it. It has to be in a vaporizing device.
Yep.
So even telling people that people are not even going to be smoking cannabis, they're going to vaporize it. No, you can't do that in my building.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was hard. So we were sort of, like I said, right after that bubble. So maybe a year before would have been people would have been throwing money at us. Now we really had to struggle. Funny enough, the people the partners we ended up joining venture with were sort of people that were knee deep in it, just like us. So we were sort of looking for each other, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, we're already all in this. Let's just let's push through, So that's kind of how that marriage, that joint venture came along.
And when was the first point that you personally thought, yes, this worked for me, and the leap of faith I took, it's paid off? When was the first? Was it after the first grow and after the first time you sold your first weed legally?
To be perfectly honest, to this day, it's a grind. There was never an easy part. There's always something. But on the other hand, though, I sort of learned to embrace the struggle. It's kind of weird to say, but I'm really passionate about so I have the French word entrepreneurship. So just being an entrepreneur, I went to business school, got to meet so many entrepreneurs, and I'm just really fascinated and passionate about the hustle and the I don't know, the sort of lifestyle that comes with it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
not
I know exactly what you mean.
But not the glam the part of it. The just constantly figuring out problems. Yeah, and learning. I keep saying in the cannabis industry, we consider ourselves everlasting students, and we made it a business culture to stay students of the game. Because even though we have more experience than others, there's always going to be people ahead of you, and you always 100%. Need to be learning. So yeah, I truly learned to embrace the struggle and to look at the silver lining of, hey, if we make it out of this, we're stronger on the other end, and we'll just be more prepared for whatever's coming next at us.
Okay, so what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned so far after becoming a chairman of a cannabis company? So something that you didn't know before, but you've learned since, obviously, and not something to do with cannabis, just something to do like a life lesson.
I don't think we'll have enough in an hour to go over everything I learned. Okay, so I might sound a little. This might sound a little. The culture, man.
Yeah.
We there were so many points where we were like, okay, is this the end? Like, and when we hit, I don't want to say rock bottom, but at those times where we're all sitting around the table and having these very serious discussions that you sort of don't want to have, but at some point you have to have them.
Yeah.
To be surrounded by people that put their money in, their hard earned work money, because we have one partner that's very fortunate. Let's say he worked hard for his money, but he just happened to make a lot more than all of us. The rest of us is really like blue collar, hard work, hard earned money, you know. And to have all these people around the table, and to have all of them worried, or at least like wanting to make sure that I'm still like mentally healthy, that I can still like do you still want to do this, David? Yeah, I think like you're making this easier on me, because I don't feel this is all about money. I feel this is like something we're all like. Of course, at the end of the day, it's a private company. We need to make money, but the idea that we're all humans, and if the captain of the ship is going down, the ship's gonna go down.
Yeah,
but
100%.
if the ship hit a rock, but everybody's like the culture of the business is all about so our main value in the business is bienveillance, which is sort of goodwill. If you could, there's not the exact translation for it, but it's all about like taking care of one another. So to that part of the culture to be so authentic, and to have the people that are in it basically for their money, putting money aside and saying, hey, like, we still want to do this. We'll still put money in if we need to, but can you still take it? Like, are you gonna break down on us? Are you gonna bring yourself to being sick at trying to make this work? That gave me so much power. Like, it was like, you're making me invincible at this point. We can take on anything, because I know I can sort of slow down if things are becoming too hard. But that's what got us over the hump and where we are now, which is in a very good place with still a lot of challenges. Don't get me wrong.
Did you imagine in this short amount of space of time that you would be where you are now, or did you think it would be a much longer time?
No, at first it was like the amount of people that told us that money was gonna grow out of our ass. Like it was.
This sold you a dream.
And they believed it too. So it wasn't like fraudulent, you know. It wasn't people promising me something and couldn't deliver. It was really like during the time where the bubble hadn't burst yet, everybody was convinced that we were just going to grow money. Basically, it's like, you guys are going to grow money. It's going to be so easy. You're going to be so fucking rich overnight that at some point you were like, you see yourself on your fucking boat, you know? It's like, even though that's not the reason why we're doing it, when you have so many people telling you how easy it's going to be and how much money you're going to make.
They're manifesting it for you.
Yeah, and at some point, you're like, if everybody's thinking it, you're going to start thinking it at some point too. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, man, it's like today, what sort of grew on me over the past like few years is becoming sort of, I don't want to say paranoid, but suspicious of like, am I allowed to believe that at some point things are going to go smoothly and like the profit margins are going to be where they're looking to be at? Because I mean, I have a good CFO, and I mean, she's a brain. She knows how all this works. Maybe not the cannabis side, but I mean, she knows how to crunch numbers, and everything's out there. It's like, this is like you've made it over the hump. Now you just need to be patient. You know what I mean? And it's funny how I've sort of become this. I've sort of resigned myself to, you know what? It's a really great business. The team is amazing. They've become family. I'm sort of doing it for that now, more than like I'll be happy to rake in the profits. Like, of course, don't get me wrong, but that's not my mission. I don't wake up in the morning. Oh, absolutely. It's become making this family grow and giving an opportunity for everyone to grow inside this family. And the challenges, I mean, it's become an obsession. Like, bring on the challenges. I know I'm well supported, so let's go.
Yeah, and how important is it to have people like that, people with the same end goal as you, people with the same interest? And have you been through, like, a lot of people, has a lot of things changed, or has it always been the same people from the start?
It's always been this like the employees, there's been a little movement. We have one that's been there. A shout out to Junior. He's been there since basically day one. And we have, like, we still have quite a good retention. But on the partner side, it's been it's the same team since the joint venture. It's the same team, and if everybody's not on the same page, it's bound to break. Like, it's that easy. I mean, if you don't have a common goal with a common business culture, common values, it's bound to break. So it's not even a question of how, like, it's gonna, if you don't have people with the same values, it's gonna work for some time, but it's a matter of time before it doesn't work anymore.
Things are shit, yeah, absolutely. Another question I had as well: what's the biggest change you've noticed in the industry in your country where you are, from when you got into the industry till now? And then part two of that question is, what is the biggest change you've seen internationally from when you started till now?
I'll say from, like, my point of view, so when we started, we're not like the first players to get our licenses. There were a few people before us, but we were still at that, retailers, like, had pretty much empty shelves. Like, they had a hard time sourcing product.
Back to, what's the biggest changes you've seen from when you started till now?
Yeah, so when we got into the industry, it was at that time where retailers had trouble sourcing. Okay. So it was so new that retailers were running out of stock, and yeah, it was really. So we had a feeling of, hey, we have the upper hand here as cultivators, as growers, but rapidly it became the complete opposite, where we were so many growers trying to put our products on the shelves, and so we sort of pivoted to B2B quickly, and didn't want to have to go through the sort of the hassle of putting out a brand. And, like, I'm from the marketing background. I know how hard and long it is to have, like, brand awareness. So we've decided let's just focus on grow the best way we can grow, and have a partner buying, like, everything. And there was so many echoes of people are looking for product. You'll be locked in with a bigger player and you'll be set. And that was such horseshit. Like, it was such, like, I don't even think we've made a single, like, big scale B2B deal. It was all promises. We had so many lined up. It was like, one of them is bound to like sign off on all of this, and absolutely not. So while we were, because at the end of the day, you're still growing, so you're starting to pile up inventory, you know. And I know some growers had it like figured out from day one. So I'm not talking for everybody here, but on the other hand, there was so many people going out of the business that I know that it's been a reality for a lot of us. So as we were trying to figure out who the right partner was going to be for the B2B model, we had an opportunity. So this one guy came, sort of a broker, I guess you could say, came into the facility and was like, "Your flower is amazing, man. I usually don't do this with people that don't have like a full year behind their belt, but I might have international like opportunities for you guys. And I was like, okay, so what does that imply? And he pulled up the fees, and we were like, oh shit, we haven't got our head out of the water yet. We need to spit out more cash. What are you talking about? And we just went through did our due diligence and looked at it from every angle, and we're like, this is what we need to do. So decided to pivot and went fully international.
And
from
sorry.
So I was gonna say, from the international standpoint, now we were lucky enough to be like in the early exporters or small players, because of course the big Canopy, Aurora were already international. So smaller businesses like ours, we were quite in the early ones to drop in Germany. So we surfed on the golden years of can't get enough product, prices through the roof. So lucky enough, we got to surf that wave, and we saw how sort of the same thing that happened to Canada started happening in Germany, where there was so many offers and people cutting prices. And so luckily enough, by the time that came around, we were already diversifying through the UK through new channels, because we were already in the UK, but the first channel didn't go so well. So we had to step back and come back. And we were exporting to Australia and Israel by then. So we sort of dodged a bullet on the Germany situation.
You know, when you said the UK didn't work, can you share why it didn't work, or is it just something that happened behind the scenes?
Yeah, so basically we were going through Portugal.
Yep.
We were also going through Portugal for Germany, but the thing is, we dropped two products in the UK through Portugal, and the issue was that Germany could register the product before it got to Portugal, or maybe as it dropped in Portugal. Yeah. So by the time the product was going through the motions of being registered, it was also going through the motion of being processed. Yeah. So by the time it was finished being processed, it was registered, so they could send it directly to Germany. That being said, some processing times took forever. So for people out there in the UK that wrote to us back in the day telling us our product was dry as shit, please know that some of our product landed in Germany dry as shit as well. So don't take it personally. And but the issue was, for the way the UK works, the product needed to be processed before applying for registration. So we added many weeks of the product sitting in a warehouse before it actually got to you guys. So and I mean, to be honest, a lot of people from the UK wrote to us telling us our product was shit, and with like they had all the reasons in the world to do so. I was happily surprised to see that most of them, like the vast majority, understood. Like, we took the time to explain that, hey, when it comes out of our facility, it's fire. It's fresh. It's fire. And it's really unfortunate that by the time it arrives, that it's such a dry and dead product. And like I said, practically everybody really understood and were really eager to put their hands on fresh product, and that's why we were so happy to find a new route. Yeah,
and there's another reason that I can stand by what you're saying, because I'm a medical patient. I get medical flower as well, and a lot of it, like you said, is not the best. And the reason is because the reason you just said, because it sits too long in places, then it sits in other places too long, and like you said, when it's fresh from the facility, it's fire. It is going to be fire. I've sat down, like you said, Portugal. We got invited to go to Portugal to taste some flower, to see the facilities. And when we were doing the flower tasting, it was, say we had 12 strains, 80% of them were fire. But I know I've had similar strains, or maybe the same strains, in the UK after they've been sitting for so long, and they're not as fire as they should be. So I think that's the biggest, in the UK, even talking to other patients and stuff, I think that's the biggest hurdle that we get. And I was actually talking yesterday to my friend about this. There are growers, there are medical facilities in the UK, but we don't actually know if they need to go out of the country to be processed, and then come back to the country? Because if that is the case, then the same thing's going to happen to them, and it doesn't benefit them being a UK country, if you know what I mean, for us.
Absolutely. And there's another factor also is that the requirements for the product to be commercialized, to be registered and to be released, it needs to have a moisture content that is way below what we're used to on the black market.
Yeah.
Basically, on the black market, there are no laws.
Yeah,
so you basically you grow the weed. Once you feel it's ready, you sell it. It's out there.
Yeah.
No, like it's all a question of, is it to your taste? Like, is it curing right from a testing perspective? There's no COAs, there's no certificates of analysis on the black market. Once you move to the legal market, to the medical market, there's all these tests that need to be done, and for some reason, I guess there's a health reason behind it, but they ask for moisture contents that are sometimes below 10, and just to give you a comparing point, on the black market, you're usually more around 12 and sometimes up to 13. At 13, you might be a little too moist, but so we've seen, and the product needs to leave my facility at 10. So I need to prove to my importing markets that my product is already compliant. So it leaves my facility at around below 10%, which is already on the dry side.
Yeah.
And it goes through weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of processing and storage. So by the time it gets to you guys, previously we have a new route that is amazing. 2 products we just dropped in the UK. I haven't seen it myself yet, but the feedback is really good and a lot more fresh.
Going back to the moisture content, is that because of preservation and the longevity of shelf life, or is that something that they just put out there and you just have to comply with it?
So from a legal standpoint, I couldn't give you the exact reason. What I can tell you though is that, and we learned that the hard way, it's not actually the moisture content which is the problematic, it's the water activity. So just to give you a crash course, moisture content is everything that's liquid within the product, as opposed to water content, which is only the water, like the water activity. So water activity is the one that's feeding the microbiology. So it's microorganisms. So too much water activity is prone to more microbiological counts, and too much microbiological count turns into what do you call it? The
ecosystem. So it's too much bad stuff, basically.
Yeah, the mushrooms, you know what I'm trying to say. The rot, it rots, basically. Yeah. So the word's gonna come back. So what they should have done and I'm not scientific, I'm not a doctor, so I'm talking a little bit out of my ass right now. But what they should have done is put a limit on water activity.
Yeah.
As opposed to moisture, because moisture, you need to cut on terpenes and other like great components to bring down your moisture content, which sort of makes no sense. You want to be able to, and that's what we've sort of managed to do, is to be able to lower the water activity count as much as you can without burning off the terps.
Yeah. You did mention a new route just a second ago. Do you want to talk about the new route, or is that something you want to keep secret for now?
Well, I do want to shout out to our distributors at Contrash for having worked very hard to find that new route. I will not disclose what the route is, 'cause, I just want to. I don't want to put anybody in trouble for disclosing delicate information. But at the end of the day, the lead times have dropped so much. We're talking like, to be honest, through Portugal, I think we've reached like 17 weeks at one point, which is crazy. Like, it's so heartbreaking to know that the product's going to be put to market under those conditions. And honestly, in the UK right now, or actually the route we're taking to land in the UK, we're talking like 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks, which is amazing.
And I think, and being like that and having that flower here in the UK, I think you guys will get ahead of the game, because like you said, it's fire when it leaves there, and the fresher the flower, the more influencers and the more users see it and share it, I think it will get better and better and better. And hopefully others can follow suit and follow a similar route and have it as fresh as you guys do.
Absolutely, and to be honest, I mean, this is not something that's proper to Roxon Air. It's more so proper to Entourage. So I don't mistake me for a placement or advertisement, but if you go anything that has Entourage on it, anything recent that's been distributed by Entourage is now like a seal of approval of fresh products. So my hat's off to them. They've been working really hard, and we're really happy to provide fresh medicine. I mean, it's a question of night and day. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
we work so hard to bring fire product to you guys. We want to make sure everybody in the chain works their asses off to make sure you guys get the freshest product. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So we've talked a little about the European market. We spoke about Germany. We spoke about Portugal and the UK. I've seen the products now going into the Thai market. How long has that been happening, and what was the process? Was it different to the process of Europe, or was it similar?
So we don't have product in the Thai market. We're in Israel and Australia.
Oh, sorry. I meant Israel. Sorry, not Thai market.
In Israel?
Yeah.
So the process was longer because it's Israel is the, I want to quote unquote this, only country where they have another certification on top of. So basically, EU GACP allows me as a cultivator to send bulk
Europe.
product to pretty much any market. Israel has one on top, which is called IMC GAP.
Okay.
So they have their own specifications, and they're a little stricter on especially pesticides, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
If you ask me. It's just that we had to go through the process of all the audits and getting those certifications on top of the ones we already had. So that made it a little longer. And the context in Israel made it longer too. I mean, they've had bigger fish to fry than importing cannabis for a while, if you know what I mean. So that made things. And at some point, we were like, we're never going to send any product to Israel, and we did all that for nothing. But you know what? We've been doing a few things, maybe not for nothing. You always learn something in the process. Yeah, exactly. But we were really happy to make it there, and it turns out that the flower the feedback is quite amazing.
Yeah.
Like at some point we had to tell all the partners, the distributor and the processor, we had to tell them to calm down. Because I was like, this is starting to feel awkward. The point at which we're getting all these compliments on the quality of the flower, I was like, it's starting to sound like bullshit. You need to take a little cream off the top there. But honestly, I mean, they're hungry. They're hungry for more, and we're happy to send more. And it's so far I can say it's a really good partnership.
You know, you are working with different markets around the world, yeah? Do you ever find that specific countries have different favorite terpene profiles or specific buds that they like, or is it everything? Everyone just loves everything at the moment.
So there are profiles and like trends, but they are quickly, I would say, overshadowed by the quality of the flower.
Yeah.
So and at the end of the day, it makes sense. If I compare with like microbrewery beers, I mean, I can have a preference for, I don't know, like red ales. But if I stumble upon a microbrewery that does an amazing product all around, I might prefer their wheat or stout, even though it's like over maybe the red ale from another brewery. So it's the same principle. Like they came down, they already had our catalog, I guess you could say. They came down to visit us in person, which is something the Israeli do. That, like, we've had our German partners come and audit us, but the Israeli came to before we were actually partners. They were like, before we sign anything, we want to see it with our own eyes.
Yeah.
So we were like, fine, like come and take a look. And it was funny because they already had like pre-shopped, I guess you could say. They were like, we're going to take this, but this is not in our palette. This is not in our palette. And by the time they had all the bins opened up in front of them and they were examining the product, they were looking at each other. And I was like, and it's always scary when they're speaking a foreign language and you don't know what they're saying. And they made it like they were they had their poker faces on, like voluntarily.
No emotions,
so
nothing.
that,
just talking
yeah, and I mean, I would have done the same. Like you want to keep your, the upper hand on the negotiation. So they were talking to each other, and it felt like, oh shit, like, are they not going to take anything at all? Because like we've been sort of invested in this, and they looked up and they were like, we're taking everything.
You know what? Actually,
we were like, okay.
That brings me nicely onto my next question. Then, what is success for you?
That's a good question.
Because that to me would be success. If somebody came into my facility from another country and they took everything and they weren't looking to take everything, to me that's success.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I need to shout out to my team because at the end of the day, I'm a office guy. Like I don't spend much time taking care of the flowers, so that's a big hats off to the team. And I believe for the team, it's that's the big payday, and I'm not gonna elaborate too much because they're all gonna want to raise. But yeah, I mean, and I do try as much as I can to always bring that feedback back to them. That time it was easy because everybody was in the facility and they were right there, so they got a chance to live it live. For me personally, and that's where I'll go back to that sort of esoteric answer there. I think it's about balance. To me, success is if I can make the most out of this business and to bring it where I believe it can go without compromising like my family, my health, the rest of my life. Like that would be, to me, that would be the definition of success. If I can feel like I'm going all in because I'm bringing it as far as I can bring it, but doing it in a sane way, that to me would be, that's my definition of success.
And where do you see Roxton Air going in the next 5 years? What are the plans?
So there's a part of that I can't disclose. So our vision
when somebody normally says that means they've got a big plan.
No, to be honest, I don't want to create too much hype and to disappoint people. That's more it, I suppose. But so we sort of worked on our mission statement recently and our vision and our core values and everything. And our vision is basically to have the Roxton Air brand, which is, remember when I was saying at the beginning of this project of this company, we had no intention of putting out a brand. It was growing the best way we can grow and just supplying it to the bigger brands out there that are doing all the legwork on bringing the brand on bringing awareness to the brand. And with the international opportunity came the opportunity to put out our brand. And we're like, okay, so why not? And one of the leverages we have is that vertical aeroponics, which is quite different from what people are used to. So it's sort of like having your reputation precede you, like you show pictures. So cannabis is still at the end of the day very new in the common knowledge. And so when somebody stops you or you meet somebody new and they're like, what do you do for a living? And you're like, I grow cannabis. They're like, holy shit, let's talk. And you show pictures of vertical aeroponics. They're like,
mind blown. Yeah. So
there's like, I'm going to be late. If I meet somebody and I tell them I grow cannabis and I show them pictures of vertical aeroponics, wherever I need to be next, I'll be late because I need to. I have so many questions coming. So all that to say, we have such a leverage with that way of growing that, it just made more sense to put out our brand, and our vision turned into having the Roxton Air brand shine on all medical markets around the world. So basically, we want to provide the best cannabis on all medical markets worldwide.
Okay, and talking about branding, I first got introduced to Roxon Air at Mary Jane last year in Berlin 2025. Yep. How important are events like that to cannabis industry and then to your company?
It's one of the rare chances you get to meet the people.
Yeah.
Which is priceless. I mean, we're in an industry where there's like marketing is basically not allowed. So the fine line is you're allowed to sort of showcase your company, but you can't promote your product
to the masses.
So exactly. So we are like cock blocked on so many aspects of our business that when you finally get a chance to get direct feedback. I mean, we're getting feedback through social media and Reddit and stuff, but there's nothing like sitting down with people and having them tell you, "Hey, I've tried it," and one thing that was very interesting about Mary Jane last year is realizing how many people are not even aware of how medical weed works.
I found that as well.
Like Mary Jane brought a lot of home growers and a lot of passionate people about cannabis. But when we introduced ourselves as Canadian, well, first of all, they were like, "What the hell are you doing here, a Canadian grower?" And I'm like, "Our product is on your market." How so? Well, through medical. You get your prescription and you can get our flower. How does that work? And I'm like, holy shit, you guys don't even know how it works? And a lot of people, I think most of the people we talked to didn't even know how it worked. So that was very interesting to get some feedback on. Like there's so many untapped patients out there, consumers out there. Even though Germany is a huge market, there's a lot of untapped business out there, and of course, when somebody arrives at your booth and they're like Roxton Air, that's always flattering.
That's definitely going to happen this year from us, and hopefully the viewers from here, because I've got a lot of friends coming this year. Even my little brother's coming. How you said the culture. So obviously medical has been a new thing, but the culture's been here for a long time, and people don't understand that there is a cannabis culture and it is a thing. So even me going to events and showing people this is the cannabis industry and this is the cannabis culture, it's amazing things, and I hope it just gets bigger and bigger every time.
Absolutely. Cannabis consumers are so passionate. Like, there are no comparables. Absolutely. I mean, there are a few like wine snobs, and here in Quebec, beer is a big thing. So there are sort of beer snobs as well, but nothing compares to a cannabis snob. It's like people love their cannabis, man. It's impressive. And it's like, we're up for the challenge, basically.
I want to get into a couple of talks. Okay, this is like a bit of fun now. It's not too serious. And it's about cannabis. So, cannabis, is it to get high, to get the effects, or is it more for the taps and the flavor? And also, sorry, before you answer, the reason I ask, you just said like there's a big beer scene and a wine scene. Wine connoisseurs and beer connoisseurs don't drink beer and say, "Yeah, I got so pissed off this. This is my favorite."
Yeah, I think if you need to have a really good tolerance to appreciate more so the flavor profile and like the everything that comes like with the buzz. I still think there's a good portion of consumers who are just looking for I don't want to sound like it might sound weird, but that are looking for the cheapest buzz.
Yep.
And it's at the end of the day, it's okay. I mean, not everybody. Same for beer. A lot of people just buy their cheap beer and just want to have a beer after work, and it's not for everyone to be a connoisseur, which is perfectly fine.
That's the whole point of a connoisseur kind of thing, yeah.
And from my perspective, so I used to be a heavy smoker, and I've gotten like not major health issues, but I can't smoke anymore. Like, smoking for me it takes all the pleasure out of tasting it and the buzz. So I turned like to vape pens, but I sort of lost tolerance over the years. So it's harder for me. like I don't get to appreciate the taste as much, because if I wanted to reach that point, the buzz would be, especially on the concentrates and the high THC profile strains. So I sort of only navigate the balanced strains now to keep like to enjoy it, because there are so many strains that, and I mean, we only grow high THC profile strains, so it's quite ironic to grow stuff and you're like, I'm never going to be able to smoke that stuff. It's way too strong.
You know what? Yeah, you've kind of taken away my second question that I had for you, but it's like 50-50. What do you think someone that grows should always smoke their product, or do you think other people are better to QC it than they could QC it themselves? Because somebody could be a great chef but not be the best food critic, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. I think it all depends. I think so we sort of have a, I guess you could say, focus group of people that are just not looking for free weed, you know, they're serious about it. And so we have, because the people in-house in our team that I think they're biased. So I mean, I do take their feedback, but it's important for me to have feedback from people where you're sort of blind tasting and you really want, like, I don't want you to just tell me we're doing a great job. That's when I'm out for critics, I want a critic.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what's wrong with it. I want to know what we can do better. I need to know what we need to work on. So, and funny enough, like I said, I used to smoke a lot. I used to be a chronic, dial down a bit, but my master grower never consumed cannabis ever. He's tried it younger and he didn't like it, but he loves growing the plant. He's a farmer, so he's like in touch with everything agriculture wise. It has no interest in smoking it. But he's doing a wonderful job. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you can grow great weed even though you're not smoking it. The important thing is, if you're not going to be your own judge, and you can step away from that bias where you're looking at that grow and you're convinced it's amazing and you're just tasting it to convince yourself it's amazing. If you have that ability to really step away and say, okay, are we doing the best job we can do? You need to have people that can do that for you.
Absolutely.
And that aren't afraid to tell you that's shit. And you're like, okay.
I've got the last couple of questions actually. So, my penultimate question to you is, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self?
Wow.
That's always the reply I get to that question.
Yeah. What advice would I give the 17-year-old me was so fucking spread out, man. Like, I had no clue. I guess I would tell him, follow your instinct, because I feel that's sort of what I did, and
it worked out.
I feel I'm living like a balanced life where I'm still like. So if you'd ask my girlfriend, she'd probably tell me she'd tell you I'm like insane at times, because like I have these challenges that I want to complete. I have these goals that I want to achieve and stuff. But at the end of the day, I think I've really found the right balance to make sure I'm not going crazy over those goals. And so just follow your instincts. And I've read so many books on like Simon Sinek and all those like great leaders and all those, and it all comes down to like follow your gut feeling. Like your gut feeling is rarely wrong. Yeah. If you're gonna, like, if you're doing something that feels wrong, it's probably wrong. So like, yeah, I guess that would be the best the best advice.
And then my final question, and I should have asked this way before. Obviously, we've spoke about the medical market around the world and that. Do you think or is Roxton Air already in any rec markets? And do you think, if it's not, do you think it'll ever get there?
So we tried getting into the Canadian rec market, but we already had started exporting, and the model and the margins internationally just
Work out better.
And we're still pretty small scale, so we at some point we couldn't provide on every market we wanted to be on, so we had to make choices, and the obvious choice was to pull out of Canada, because it was such, like, I mean, some people are doing a great job, and we've spoken to great people that could have probably helped us get back in, but at that point we were selling out on international markets, so we were like,
what's the point?
last thing I want to do is promise, like, I want to keep my, like, so going back to like the core values and stuff, I put a lot of effort on keeping my relationships, like my business and international relationships, and even not only international, but all my business relationships. I really try to keep them authentic. And you know, that old saying, there's no friends in business. I believe we need to respect one another. Like, if there's no more respect, there's no point in making business together.
Absolutely.
So the last thing I want to do is promise product to people and have them work hard, and at the end of the day not deliver. So we've decided, hey, as long as we're not producing more, we'll focus on international and medical, and honestly, if I had to choose between going back to the Canadian market, rec market, because we've started expanding, or the international markets, having them expand and us export to new upcoming markets, no brainer.
Yeah.
I'd rather be on the new trails of new international markets than. So I'm not saying I don't want to come back to the Canadian rec market. What I'm saying is,
eventually, when it's grown enough,
favor. Yeah, exactly. If we're producing more than what we can export, then it'll make sense to look at the model for the Canadian rec market. But as long as the international demand exceeds what we're able to provide, we'll always be focusing on the international.
Well, I think the international market is just going to keep growing because it's getting legal in many more countries as we speak, as we go on. I think 2026 is a big look. I think a lot more European countries are looking into the medical market. So I hope to see you in a lot of these new countries, and hopefully we'll see you soon at Medicon as well. Thank you very much for your time today, David, and it's been a fantastic conversation.
Absolutely, man. I can't even imagine if we're sitting next to each other how fun it's gonna be.
That would definitely
and having
soon.
RJ there too.
Oh no,
is RJ there? Did I see him?
No. This is my new friend. He's back. But RJ will definitely be here with us next time. I'll make sure it happens properly.
Awesome.
This was a big learning curve. This was a big learning curve for us as well, because we've never done anything remotely like this. So I think it's went very well. So thank you very much for your time today. You know what? Yeah, I'll be honest. This is my signature. I always say last questions, but I always have more questions. So I've got a few more questions. From what you just showed us, you said 2 are already available in the UK market. What sort of feedback have you got so far? And is there a favourite between the 2?
Not many have tried both. It's really recent. We dropped second week of January, I think. Okay. So it's relatively new. So we've had people either try one or the other. Feedback has been amazing. Really good. I think some people have... I think I saw one review comparing it to the old product we had dropped, which was very heartwarming to see that people notice that we can do fresh product, that we can do fire products. So that was really, I was really glad to see that. The response has been really great.
Well, I can't wait to try it myself, and I'll make sure it happens in the next couple of weeks, and I'll definitely give you a review on YouTube, and I'll ring you personally and let you know how I feel about it.
And for the listeners out there, I mean, do not hesitate to write to us and tell us what's wrong with it, because that's how I said it before, but that's how we improve. So, and it brings great conversations. I mean, I'm up for it to talk. I mean, there's always going to be haters, so you need to put them aside. But most of the people, not to say practically everybody, is really up for the conversation. So so I told everybody at Mary Jane, please, if you try it, please write us if you enjoy it, and even more so if you don't. We want to know. Sometimes it's just a question of taste, and that's perfectly fine. But if there's, I don't know, if the curing's not on point, if there's something not on point, we need to know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to say it again. Thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully we meet each other soon again. And
absolutely,
as I said, I'll be tasting the product soon and letting you know what I think of it. For the listeners, make sure you like, share, comments, and subscribe. Fryday Podcast, Fryday 420, Roxton Air. Make sure if you're on the medical market in the UK, make sure you try the product out. Let me know what you think. Let them know what you think. And thank you very much for your time today.
Take care, guys. Cheers.